Playtesting and preparing for any tournament is huge, especially the United States National Championships, where thousands of players partake in one tournament, the biggest tournament in the entire Pokemon franchise. In this tournament, trading card game players have to endure around more than 8 rounds and 2 days of pretty much non-stop Pokemon playing. Rise and shine early in the morning and play all the way till around 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Preparation this year is even more important. Because of the new recently banning, there's been a huge shakeup in the metagame. Recently, powerful decks have fell to the wayside, while decks that were once doubted have become a lot more popular. So, what decks will rise to the occasion this year? Here's what I think. In my top 5 best decks to play at the United States National Championships. Because 5 is a very small number, I'll have a few honorable mentions. So, our honorable mentions are Yveltal, Bumblebee Mildeck, and the Mega Latios Dunk Deck. And the reason these 3 decks, I think, will not be the best options for Nationals is, first of all, with Yveltal, that deck was very weak with Trump Card. And I just think that Mega Metric is very strong right now, and people are already running Raichu to counter those Mega Rayquaza decks, so it just matches up bad for Yveltal. For the Bumblebee Mildeck, I think that there's just not enough tech cards yet for Bumblebee to really excel. And for the Mega Latios deck, I think that with Shaman in the format, it falls behind in relative speed to other decks because it's not able to capitalize on Shaman. Let's get back to the list.
Number 5.
Landorus Bats. Landorus Crobat is an overall good deck, and it is stronger after the ban. With a small amount of Seismitoad decks being played, Landorus was able to come back because its item cards weren't being locked as often. Also, I believe this deck will be popular and do fairly well because it matches up well against another deck on this list. Cough, 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 cough.
Number 4.
The new Dragon Mega Rayquaza. The new Dragon Mega Rayquaza from Roaring Skies takes a lot to work properly. So the best way to counter this deck is probably playing Disruption on it. Decks that play Enhanced Hammer, a decent amount of Lysander, have probably one of the best chances of beating this deck.
Number 3.
Seismitoad EX variants. Without a doubt, Seismitoad deck variants would have definitely been number 1 on this list. But without Lysander's trump card, Seismitoad dropped down in the rankings. Unfortunately, Seismitoad will have to stay in the format for at least another year, with the only ways of countering it are through grass-type Pokemon or getting ahead of Seismitoad by hammering it or playing incredibly aggressively.
Number 2.
Skyfield decks. To be honest, I really didn't think that Skyfield decks would ever be good, but I was definitely wrong. Now with Altaria, Mega Rayquaza won't be hit for a weakness as long as Altaria is out in the field. And I think one of the best ways to counter this deck would to be go into a stadium more and try to run a counter stadium. But just make sure that whenever you run cards to counter another deck, you're not hurting yours.
Number 1.
Night March. Of course Night March was number 1 on this list. The big thing holding this deck back was Trump Card, and without it, Night March is now one of the best decks, for sure. The only decks that have a decent matchup against Night March are Seismitoad EX variants, Landorus Bats, and Donphan or Gengar decks. But Donphan and Gengar decks aren't very common to see anymore, so Night March doesn't really have to worry about those decks. Overall, I believe Night March is a clear favorite to win Nationals. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate everything. Remember to leave a like for more top 5s and top 10s, and subscribe if you want to get an update when a new one comes out. As always, I will catch you guys later in the next video. Can't wait for Nationals.